Cronos, The New Dawn. Alright, I want to make a quick review so you don't spend 10 to 30 minutes watching one. I got 60 hours on this game, which eventually got me that juicy plat trophy, so... Cronos was that it really reminds me of Dead Space, mixed with Resident Evil, mixed with Silent Hill, etc. You get guns to upgrade, puzzles to solve, and monsters to kill. And I roll heavily with that. It scratches that sci-fi horror apocalypse itch so good I finally got my dose of this type of stuff after a while. I love the concept that you're some futuristic agent in a post-apocalypse world. Really gives me that hell yeah, let's do this type of feeling I get whenever I heard Marcus from Gears of War say it. So you're essentially an agent from the future who goes around blasting monsters and performing tasks, trying to get down to the core of what's going on. And apparently, there is a lot more going on than meets the eye. More than you would initially think anyway. But I won't want to get into the story, as it gets pretty deep. Pretty far deep. And it's hella interesting, and I don't want to spoil any narratives that this game has to tell. The gameplay is a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter with aspects of upgrading, doing the odd side quests, puzzles, and killing monsters. Very familiar with that style, especially these days. So if you're a seasoned Dead Space, Resident Evil, or even Callisto Protocol fan, you'll be in familiar territory. And it's a good time. I will admit the first 2 hours is a bit of a slow burn, but as with all games like this, when you start out weak and unupgraded, that's just how it is. You gotta keep fighting the good fight for resources and finding the new goods to build your repertoire. And after each chapter, it gets better and better and better. Graphics for me never really mattered, but to be honest, the fleshy biomasses, the landscapes, the traveler, the guns and gadgets all looked and felt like its own thing I've never seen before. Within its own unique universe set in the earliest 1900s, it's a complete distinct thing. I played on PS5, so it ran really smooth and always wondered if it was gonna crash. But it never did, not once. Team Blooper did a really good job optimizing for the PS5. I don't know about the PC, but it did a good job for me anyway. Now, as a sound designer myself, I really appreciated the sound design. The guns all felt beefy to shoot, the technology sounded hella sci-fi and slick, the monsters sounded monstrous and menacing, the distant roars and screeches gave me goosebumps, like I was to anticipate something was heading my way. Even the footsteps, they freaked me out. You can hear them chasing you down a corridor like they're right behind you, I swear. I play with the Bose surround sound system, so the sounds and bass, I can really feel it. And I live in the countryside, so I can blast it as loud as I can. And I had hella fun, especially like just turning off all the lights. I love doing that with these horror games. It just builds that atmosphere further. It's pretty good. Good times. I also really enjoyed the voice acting. The main characters, they found it very clear and sharp. You know who's talking whenever they are talking. As for the side characters, I give them a thumbs up. They did their job, and they did a pretty good job at it.
What are you? What do you want?
Edward Vishnevsky. Where is he?
So glazing aside, there are two particular enemy moments that kept bothering me until I got the pattern down. But the first two playthroughs, this peculiar monster just felt like a bad cheap shot. It was a bit infuriating because they were throughout the game, not just one part of the story. But at least you know they are there, because eventually you'll recognize where they are by via sound design. Callisto Protocol had the same problem with the ground tentacle enemies. They were so annoying. You couldn't even tell if they were there. They just got you and that's it. Like, oh, what kind of game design is that, to be honest? But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I will spoil this. The door basher monsters, they were hella annoying. Until you remember where they are, I almost died like twice on my first playthrough. And I was like, this is so cheap. You can't even see them coming. Like, oh. I can just rant about them for a while, but I won't. Just know that they're a pain in the ass, so there's a heads up. Another thing, on my third and fourth playthrough, the important cutscenes, you can't skip them, and they just felt so tedious. And some of them lasted like 4 minutes. I usually just killed the time by cooking something or just doom scrolling TikTok. But I was dreading it on my last playthrough. I just wanted to get her done, you know? Just wanted to get it over with at that point after our fourth run, you know? All in all, in conclusion, I am a huge fan of these types of games, and I bought it when the holiday sale came out. I'm glad I did. I was so dignified at the type of world I was indulging in. These types of games, they always hit a certain type of storytelling element that I'm such a huge fan for. You can't get that by watching a great film. You gotta be the character in the film. It's just a complete different experience, and these kinds of games, they just bring it to the table and they nail it. Should you buy it? I think so. You could be missing out on a very unique experience if you're new to the genre. And if you're a veteran, well, it's definitely worth checking out. I give it a thick 10.4 out of 11.